All right, bow crawler. And we're going to be soldering a JST. So just got this Quick Run Fusion Pro Elite. They're going to come with XT60 plug. And a lot of your, so if you're going to run a direct power servo or just a lot of accessories are going to run off a JST, and these don't come with a JST from the factory. So we're going to add a JST to it. First thing you got to do is just remove this cap off of your XT60. Sometimes it can be a little pain, so I grab some pliers to do that. That's going to expose the pre-soldered connector. This is really high temp. It's really high temp solder. This is a male JST. Most of the time your servos are going to be female. I've never seen one that wasn't. So I'm going to strip these wires back just a little further than they are when you buy them, because they typically don't give you quite enough room to work in that with that plug. So and then we're just going to drop some heat shrink on here. We'll go way up to kind of stay out of our way. I leave the JSTs full length because it does come in handy sometimes to have that extra little bit of length. And if you don't need it, you can just zip tie it to the power wires, and it stays out of the way pretty easily. So we're going to go up through the cover, or the cap that's on there. We're going to pull it all back so we got some room to work. And then we're going to move this one kind of out of the way. We're going to grab the so and that's all we're going to do. We're just going to solder black to black and red to red, and and that way we have direct power available directly from the ESC. This thing's a 2-in-1, so it's a little different than a standard ESC. These are pre-tinned, but they tend to need a little bit of solder. So I'm gonna add a little bit there. That's gonna make it easier as well once I get it up here to go ahead and, because like I said, that's some really high temp solder that comes on these things. So the biggest thing here is just getting it in line, getting it as best you can in line, because that cap has to go back on and there's not a whole lot of room. So you got to get it pushed up there as best you can. Get your wires kind of lined up there. Get that kind of flattened out. It's not the hottest joint that's ever been done, but I think it's going to work. So there's one side. Now we're going to flip the whole mess over. Work on the ground side. And we've got a nice big dab of solder there, so we're going to tin this guy a little bit. Get a nice nice hot tin tip. So I would really like to push that further in. If I can get some heat on it, I might be able to do that here. All right, so I think I'm gonna have to get some more. Solder on those. So we'll start with this hot side, and usually at this point I can come in from the back side and get a little better joint on it. Then we can flip it around. And those of you that are good at soldering are probably laughing hysterically right now at my rather pathetic job that I'm doing here, but it works. I know that. I've been doing it enough to know that these will absolutely work. They will absolutely transfer that power. It will transfer that power to the accessories or what have you. So now I'm going to shove the heat shrink up through. Get that on the right side of the plug. Same thing on the ground side. As you're doing this, kind of keep track of your wires. I forgot to mention that, but kind of keep track of your wires. Make sure you're not twisting them through the plug or the cap, because that can be a problem. You'll have to go back in and you'll have to redo everything if you get them twisted. But I think that's going to work. I'm going to heat shrink those, and then I'll come back and show you popping that plug cover, this cap back in place, and then we should have an XT or JST. All right, so now we just got to work the bottom end of that heat shrink. It's being a little stubborn, but there we go. There we go. Now we just got to slide it up. Pop in that side. Looks like this corner is a little bit off. And there you go. So now you've got JST for a direct power servo coming off of your XT60 plug. And again, like I said, a lot of times I'll come in here just to keep everything nice and tidy and keep wires from wanting to get pulled out of place. I'll come up kind of close to the plug here, still on the heat shrink, and I'll just zip tie those in. That way everything stays nice and nothing's getting yanked on too much. If you plug something in and go to unplug it or whatever, you don't want to yank on those too hard. So we'll put that there. Chop that guy, and there you go. Now you've got a JST, so you can do direct power servos. You can do there's light kits. There's all kinds of things that run off that JST power. So all of my ESCs, all of my, whether it's a, you know, a 2-in-1 like this one, or just any of them that I get, that's like the first step is to put a JST on there. That way you've got the options. If you're running something that you know, direct power servo or just whatever, anything you're running, that's going to give you more options to power things the way that you need to power them. So there you go. Thanks. So one more thing, just real quick on this JST plug, right? So we've got our JST plug soldered to the connector, and we're ready to go with accessories. We're ready to, you know, plug in extra stuff. And so the way that I test that, just to make sure, just to double check, is I got these, and you guys have seen them on my rigs, these little voltmeters. So I just wired one of those up so that you could plug it into a JST. Now, we're going to take a Z1300 3S, and this is a tester coming out of the balance plug side. So you can see the numbers there, and then all is 12.4, right? Which makes sense for 3S. So now, if we go to our JST with our voltmeter, our tiny little voltmeter guy, plug that in, plug this in, and he's reading 12.7 out of the other side. I'm not sure what the discrepancy is, but we're definitely getting full power through that JST, I guess is the point. So easy way to kind of double check before you even mount it in the rig. That way you know that your connection is good. So we know this guy's good now. He's got a JST for, you know, direct power servos or light kits or what have you. And we can put him up and wait for the rest of his stuff to show up. That's going to be an upcoming build that we'll talk about when we get to that. So anyway, thanks.